Welcome back, everyone. We are joined today by Coach Dustin Litvak, Taylor Bell out of J. Sarah, and Otto Stotthart out of Harvard Westlake, two incoming Princeton recruits, two of the newest members of the Princeton Tigers water polo team. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having me.
having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're really excited as part of this series to promote, incoming recruits and the upcoming season. We believe this season will be one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting seasons we've seen in a very long time. Princeton has become a common name in the NC2A tournament. You guys are new to the program. Talk to us about kind of what you guys are bringing, what your ideas are coming into the season as freshmen, and what that's like for you coming out of high school and entering into Princeton now.
I can start. What I'm looking to bring, I really kind of want to bring I guess an energy and kind of a drive that um I hope hasn't been lost to the team. At least in my experience going through time, I know there's always a hunger that younger guys I feel like bring to a team that I really hope to bring and kind of drive the rest of the team. I don't know. I think kind of bring stuff that I also got from Ormsby. A lot of kind of standards that I really hope that we can set high and kind of nail those standards repeatedly. I hope I can bring and influence the team at least a little bit.
Awesome. And Otto, what about you? Coming out of Harvard Westlake, a known program. You've probably got some former teammates that are already at Princeton, I would guess. I've known quite a few that have gone to Princeton and the East Coast there from Harvard Westlake. Talk to us about maybe what you're looking forward to this season, your first season as a Tiger, and what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to play with a new team. I've been playing with the guys that I play with now for like 10 years almost. So super excited to play with new guys, kind of find a new dynamic. I have to learn how to fit in again. Something I haven't had to do in a while. So I'm really excited to get to that. Yeah.
For sure. And so many of us grow up with the guys we play with till we're like 18, right? We finish high school and then it's a whole new world, right? We were part of the same club for a while. And then you get Coach Litvak here. Dusty, you've been one of the most successful coaches in recent memory coming out of the East Coast, certainly at Princeton. You pushing your team to new heights, which has been great to see and great for our sport. I went back and I looked, and I don't remember the last time Princeton was making regular 2 times a year trips to the West Coast. I remember it was always one time, and they weren't playing big name teams typically. But you have put the MPSF overnight invitational on your schedule. You're coming back out to play UCI, who's going to be very good this year. You're going to play UCLA probably a couple of times, as it turns out, this year. What has inspired you to do this? Like that's not a normal path. It's much easier to just stay on the East Coast, play teams locally, not have to travel. Like there's a lot of impediments you have to overcome. What inspired all of that from your standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, first, thanks for having me. I apologize for my voice in advance here. I mean, the guys motivate me. The guys inspire me. You come to Princeton because you want to be elite at everything you do. You don't settle. This is not an easy school by any means academically. It's a school that challenges you every day in the classroom, a school that you graduate from knowing that you accomplished something extremely difficult and it prepares you for the rest of your life. And since I've been there, the guys expect the same thing in the water and the same thing in the pool. These are not guys who come in and just want to be on the team and whatever happens,
Sure.
happens. Just the same thing as they don't want to just show up at school and just get their degree and whatever happens, happens. You come because you love to learn, because you want to test your limits and really see what you're made of, and figure out, how you grow as a person. And so we set our schedule the same way. And we know, our guys set the goal of winning a national championship, which may seem nuts for a team from the East Coast. And yeah, an Ivy League team that has a lot of restrictions. But for
Yeah.
my very first interview, when I got here, I said we weren't going to use these restrictions as a crutch. And we said the only way we can do this is to compete against the best. So if you were to go back and look in 2018 and 2019, we did play UCLA, we did play Stanford, we didn't compete with them, but we did play them. We were losing by quite a bit,
Yeah.
but we kind of just chip away, and credit to the guys. They're so motivated. We had, I think, 5 guys participated in National League this year, flying back and forth.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Uh, it's with the rigor they have and the red eye home, it just speaks volumes to their commitment to wanting to bring this program to the next level.
I love it. Yeah, and it's a great call out, right? You didn't start out by being close in these games, and but now you are. I mean, I was on the broadcast for the UCLA Princeton match Friday, the first game of MPSF overnight last September. It's hard to believe it's been 11 months, and it was an overtime game. I mean, you guys had the skill and you were organized as well, which I think is something new for Princeton water polo. Since you've been there, they've become much more organized in their attack and their approach. And so that's been great to see. Talk to us about this incoming class. You've got 4 players. I'm gonna flash a recruiting slide we have for you here. I'm gonna talk to us about this incoming class and what this looks like for you, just as a coach. What you're looking forward to. Walk us through these players. Obviously, they're all high level. Otto, that's a great picture of you, brother. That's amazing. And so walk us through. You got Taylor Bell, Otto, Luka Franilovic, and Pierre Duplessis, perhaps Plessis. Doing the best I can with the names.
Yeah,
We're
close enough.
all over the world
Yeah.
here. So Taylor, you start with Taylor. Let's walk our way through this here.
Yeah, I mean, first, just quickly, we only bring in guys that we believe can contribute right away. You know, we're
Okay.
not a program that has 20 plus recruited players and can redshirt, and have guys sit out and wait their turn. They have to come in and be ready to go right away. So it's really important that they come from some of the top programs, which all of these guys do. And they have the skill, and the desire, and they're really passionate. So look. In my opinion, just watching this past year, Taylor is one of the smartest players in high school water polo, and I think he's an exceptional defender. It's really important. He can play either side of the pool, but I know he played a lot on the right side this year. So to be able to defend some of those left side attackers, we talk about guys like Ryder Dodd. So we had a guy on our team, Gavin Malloy, who his job for the last 2-3 years was defending the other team's best attacker, whether that was Ryder, whether it was Rafa the year before, Casabea, or you name it. On and on, and he's gone. That's another thing real quick. We graduated 10 seniors last year, the largest class in Princeton men's water polo history, 7 recruited, a lot that played some significant minutes. So a lot of opportunity for these guys. But, I think that Taylor, I think Brett and I have a pretty similar coaching style and definitely similar systems. So he's going to have a tremendous amount of knowledge coming right in, and I don't think he's going to have to catch up in that regard. Of course, the game is a little bit faster. The guys are a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and there's that piece of it. But I expect him to be playing a lot of minutes for us very very early on in the season. Look, that picture says it all about Otto. He's one of the most passionate players you're going to find in the sport. Dominant center, that's obvious. Anybody who's watched any college water polo this year can see that he was one of the top centers, if not the top center in high school water polo this year. I've had the last 4 years I've coached against his brothers with Maude at Harvard and Ilya at Brown, so that's been tough to game plan against them, and exceptionally talented. But we're so glad to have Otto on our side for the next 4 years, and it's a big piece for us. We graduated one of our centers also from Harvard Westlake this past year. And so, the expectation again is for Otto to come in and play right away and contribute. And I think that he holds position and he finishes and he swims really well. And that's really important. We don't recruit centers that can't swim and can't play defense. So I know that recently, from what I've seen, they've had him play on the outside a little bit. He's seen the outside shot. We'll see if that happens with us to be determined, but we expect him to play a lot of center for us and looking forward to that.
I want to pause you right there. Otto,
Sure,
you obviously have a brother at Harvard who's been there. You had a brother that went to Brown. What went into the decision here to go to Princeton?
I think a big part of it is I wanted to, like my brothers, I really wanted to go to Ivy League. The education just unmatched, and a big part of it was like the Princeton schedule. I want to be able to play against the West Coast teams as much as I can, and
Sure.
it's at Brown and Harvard, they don't as much.
Sure. All right. So, I mean, look, you're picking great academic institutions, but you're also picking a very challenging schedule, and as you've called out, and that's, I mean, to Dusty's point, you're not going to do anything, easy, if you will, right? Like, culture is defined by what you choose to say no to. You want to play at the best, you got to compete with the best. So that's awesome. That's awesome here. I was kind of curious about that. Like, why would he pick Princeton when his brother's at Harvard currently? All right, Dusty, keep going with Luka here.
Yeah, no problem. Luka, just first of all, an exceptional all-around person. incredibly intelligent in both water polo and in school. His father actually is an Olympic level referee. He reffed the women's gold medal game. His father played water polo and now is an Olympic level referee. Like I said, just in Paris, reffed the gold medal game for the women's Olympics. So in his blood, we needed a center defender. We graduated 3 center defenders this
Yeah.
past senior class. We do return Gavin Appledorn, but we do graduate 3 others. So it was extremely important for us to bring in someone. And Luca was a perfect fit. I mean, he came in, he gelled with our guys right away. He's extremely talented, really knowledgeable. And I think one of the most important aspects or qualities in a center defender these days is learning how that relationship with the referee works. And with his dad being a referee, how much better could it get? So again, like another one who's going to come in and make an impact without a doubt. Piers from South Africa, he actually came to one of our camps at Princeton a couple of years ago. So he stood out there. This guy's built like an ox. His last name is that of many UFC fighters, but I've been told he's not related. It's a very common name in South Africa. Nonetheless, he looks like he could compete in the UFC or an MMA. He's incredibly passionate. He loves Princeton. From the day he set foot on campus, he set his goal of being on our team. Interesting path for him because we had said for a long time that we weren't going to be recruiting a goalie in 2025. We have very few spots that we can help support with athletics and admissions. And at the time, we thought we thought we were going to have 2 goalies in this class still, or start on our team still with Christoph and West. And then when West transferred to Stanford, we somehow rolled the dice and made it through with 1 goalie last year. And so opportunity opened up for Pierre. And he, again, is just so competitive, so passionate, so driven with the rest of the class. They're just going to continue the culture that we have and the competitive nature of our entire team.
And so is Pierre coming in as a freshman as well?
Yes.
Okay. I noticed there were no transfers. Obviously, the transfer portal has become a thing, Dusty. Does that factor into kind of your approach to recruiting at all?
Currently, you cannot transfer into, I'm just going to say Princeton because I don't want to speak for every Ivy, but currently you cannot transfer into Princeton and play varsity sports. That rule changed last year. It's one of the NC2A changed. It's an interesting rule. I don't know how much we need to go down that path, but you cannot transfer into Princeton and play varsity sports currently unless they change the rule.
So, okay. So you're limited, right? You're going to be very limited there. Talk to us now, you've got great incoming recruits, obviously. 2 of them here. This Luca, if you center defender with a referee father, he knows the game extremely well. And obviously you've got Christoph in the goal. You did graduate 10, right? How do you reload and come ready to play and have the ability to not only win your conference, but push some of these West Coast teams that are playing around, because they're playing around all year round. I mean, it's not a secret, right? The Ivies are limited in their spring component, right? There's not many hours you're able to practice and play together. You don't get into your 20-hour weeks or anything to that degree. How do you come ready to go from the jump like you did last year? What is your methodology, or what have you done this last summer or so to keep everybody ready to play?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. I think, a lot of people don't understand all of the restrictions that we're under as an Ivy League, athletic team. And it's not just the off-season training limited. We're not allowed to train at all in the summer. We can't take transfers. Grad students cannot play varsity sports, on our team. We don't have scholarships. It goes on and on. There's a lot of things that you can't even compare us to other East Coast schools that have all of those things that we don't have. Sure. It's not just comparing us to the West Coast schools. So it comes down to the guys. And we've said this since the day I set foot on campus, is that, I can't be everywhere. The benefit of coming to a place like Princeton or any Ivy League school is that they can be all over the world in the summer. So we have guys currently in Japan. We have guys currently in Europe. We have guys currently all over the US, on and on. And it's up to them to train, and they have to hold each other accountable. So it starts with of course, rising seniors and the captains and how they want to, communicate that to the incoming guys so they understand. Luckily, guys like Taylor and Otto, they're still competing with their clubs, and they have a lot of tournaments this summer to look forward to stay in shape. And typically the incoming freshmen are in shape because they come straight off of JOs and other summer tournaments. It's really the returners were the challenges sometimes because they have internships, because they're doing things like that are putting them at a desk like the real world for multiple hours a day. Yeah. And they have to fit in the training, and that's where I've been so impressed. And that's where you look at our success over the last couple of years. It really comes down to the guys wanting to be better, wanting to be in the conversation. You know, we finished ranked fifth in the country the last 2 years. We made the Final Four 2 years ago. You know, beat Stanford, beat Cal, and this isn't because they show up on August, you know, middle of August and
Right.
start training. They train all summer, and they have to.
Yeah, it's an interesting. The restriction piece is really interesting, and you continue to get high level talent, and you know a lot of that is due to the culture that you've set, right? The expectation, and you continue to perform. So whatever you're doing, you seem to have figured out whatever secret sauce there is to get these guys out of their desk, you know, 12 hours a day and getting into their fitness, and so that's amazing. Taylor, talk to us about like kind of the journey for you. Obviously as a center defender under Ormsby, you're very well coached, right? Was Princeton your target school all along, or what about it really drew you to it?
Yeah, so I really was kind of the academics at Princeton
Mm-hmm.
and kind of looking at what comes after water polo. So, yeah, my two schools I'll just say were Princeton and Stanford. I think were my top two that I like really wanted to go to, and um, Princeton just worked out in the end. And I'm honestly, I have no complaints at all. I think Princeton is like the most phenomenal place that I could have ended up. Um, Again, yeah, it's not just like water polo and water polo, water polo. It's what comes after water polo that really was kind of my whole thoughts on where I wanted to go to college. That
Mm-hmm.
weighed a huge portion of that. And so, um, it's really, yeah, it's like where I wanted to end up, and it luckily I ended up here. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we all become something other than a water polo player at some point in our life, and be it a husband, a father, a brother, a colleague, whatever it may be, a boss, an employee, right? Preparing yourself for the real world is a great long term approach. You have a very level head about you, if you will. I'm going to jump to the next slide here. We're going to talk about some of these games. You've obviously got some pretty big matchups on your schedule, as we talked about. You've got an away first and then home. So two non-conference games against Fordham. Obviously, they went as far as you did, I suppose, and in NC2As made the semifinal, which I think you guys were quarterfinals. So I guess one step further. Obviously, they're bringing in a very good class as well, and Brian has done a phenomenal job over there. Behind closed doors, Dusty, he's a big fan of yours. I'm sure you know that. You also come out west. You're playing in MPSF overnight. We highlighted UCI and UCLA. I believe that UCI team is going to be outstanding this year. And so that's the reason I put that up there, because I do think that, you know, you got Pepperdine on that schedule as well, Dusty. We were talking about that. Pepperdine, UCI, there's a lot of very good teams this year on the West Coast. Talk to us about the approach here. How do you stay sharp? How do you got games in September, you got games in November, you got October. How do you stay consistent through the year, Dusty, and perform at a high level with all these trips to the West Coast and having Fordham in your backyard there?
I mean, my staff and I are very strategic in how we arrange the trainings, and what we're really kind of like aiming for. You know, it's important because in one regard, you can think like, well, it doesn't really matter. As long as we play the toughest schedule and we win our conference tournament, we'll make it to NC2As. But our goal isn't just to make it to NC2As. Our goal is to advance through NC2As. I said it already. The guys set the goal of winning a championship. So for us, it's these games are important, and you build confidence along the way. You mentioned our overtime game against UCLA last year. We fell a little bit short there. We played them, you know, a couple or a month later at their pool and lost by 2. You know, we played close to Pacific last year, so a lot of close games, and we just try to set the toughest possible schedule. And you look, you know, Fordham, you know, this is kind of a no-brainer. You know,
Sure.
as they've become such a powerhouse program, and credit to Brian and you know his staff there. They're, you know, an hour and a half on a good day, 2.5 hour drive from us. And so it just makes sense that we should be playing home and away. You know, that's the biggest disadvantage being an East Coast program, is like we can't drive 2 freeway exits and find another team as you can in Southern California. So of course it makes sense for us to play them home and away, and I'm glad that Brian and I were able to work that out this year. We can do that. Yeah, I think both of us will be very different teams in November than we will be in September. And then that, you know, the overnight tournament is an early test for us. I'll be honest, I was very surprised that we played UCLA as close as we did. It's just so early in the year for us to do that last year that we didn't expect to be that close to that point. But that fall break trip, we really gear up for that. I mean, that's such an important trip for us. And so we, as I mentioned before, it's not just about winning our tournament, but we have to look at the teams that are probably going to win their conferences. Fordham, that UCI conference, man, it's a dogfight. I don't know. Possibly Pepperdine. We'll see what UOP brings in, and of course you can't ever count Cal Baptist and San Jose State out, and LMU now with a new coach, and there's so many good programs there too. But we try, if we can beat some of those teams that end up winning their conference, that gives us a higher seed for NC2As, which that benefited us 2 years ago. We didn't have to play an MPSF team in the first round. Benefited Fordham last year. They didn't have to play an MPSF team in the first round. So those matches are also, it's not just about development, but we're trying to win those games.
Sure. It's interesting. I've talked to a lot of coaches this summer about that seeding component. And I don't know if it's going to be the same benefit as it's been to not play an MPSF team in the first round this next year. And because I believe the top 4, top 5 are really good. Like it's going to be interesting, as you said, who wins those conferences, that Big West Conference and then the WCC. It'll be interesting. They're very competitive conferences. Of course, MPSF is always competitive. I think UCLA, the reigning champs. You've got them on your schedule here. Is there something special about UCLA? You seem to play them every year. I'm just more or less noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, I mean, I worked there for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
I'm very close with Adam, so that's a natural fit. But also, why wouldn't you want to play the national champions?
Yeah.
Last couple of years we played Cal. And we weren't able to organize an NorCal. It just didn't work out with our scheduling and our dates and their dates this year. But yeah, I mean, everybody wants to play the top team, and it's a great experience to play there under the lights. That fall break trip, we're playing night games against UCLA, against Irvine, against Long Beach, against San Diego, at SC, in a day game with Pepperdine. I mean, it's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome. You also have the unique opportunity coming up here in early part of September to have Pro Reco and Ferencváros coming to New Jersey, as well as Asphalt Green. So you're taking on Ferencváros on September 3rd at Asphalt Green. And then I believe you get Reco later on in the week on Sunday, whatever that day. It looks like it's going to be the 7th of September.
Saturday, but yeah.
Oh, Saturday the 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, congratulations, first and foremost. That's an unbelievable opportunity. You're going against the best players in the world at Ferencváros and obviously the most storied club at Pro Reco. Taylor, Otto, I'd love to hear your perspective. What does that look like for you? I mean, is that exciting for you? Are you a little nervous? Are you scared? It's okay. It's, talk to us about the mentality you have going into this.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it's to play against like my heroes, just growing up, playing against guys that never really thought I'd be in pools with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say scared, more than just excited. Like, it doesn't even feel real. It's like something that it doesn't even make sense to me. I'm just super, super excited to have that opportunity.
Yeah. That's amazing. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like it doesn't feel real to play against like, oh, I'm going to play Pro Reco. Like it's like my little league team playing against the New York Yankees. Like it doesn't feel real. And yeah, I'd say I'm more excited than anything. Less scared. I mean, my thought is like, what is there to lose, I guess, playing against them?
Sure.
Like Dusty also said, I want to play against the best. I want to like improve and I want to work against all the best players and kind of take pieces of their game. And so like it's an unbelievable opportunity that I'm looking forward to.
That's awesome. And congratulations, guys, on setting this up. Again, congratulations for making it as far as you have. And now the journey really begins, right? Going into Princeton, it's going to be a very different rigor, both academically and physically than probably you've ever encountered. Dusty, good luck this season. This is the part of the episode of the interview where we open it up to you. If there's anything you'd like to share, it's kind of like we say, the studio is yours, Dusty. So we'll start with you, man.
Again, thanks for having us. Really appreciate the press that you're giving our sport, and the opportunity to kind of like, get everybody's message out there and to every program, not just the top programs, but every program. I think that's really important. We're in a crazy time in college athletics, and it seems like the landscape is changing every day. And so, I'm looking forward to this next season with the guys coming in and the returning guys. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity. When you graduate a lot, I just think it's exciting. As much as we're going to miss those guys, it's just such an exciting opportunity, and I can't wait to see what our 4 incoming guys and our returning guys are able to bring to the program. And like you said, last year was kind of it was a very competitive, all over the place season, and next year could be even more so. And that's good. That's good for the sport. And we're hoping that we'll be in that conversation at the end of the year.
Well, I've got you picked in the top 10, Dusty. Let's see how far up there you can get, but that's amazing. Taylor, anything you'd like to share, Otto?
No, not really.
All right.
I'm excited.
Yeah, right on. Well, Otto, anything on your end?
Just super excited to get in pool with the guys, actually play a game. Should be really fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys very much for taking the time. It's been great to have you here. Good luck this season. Hopefully we'll be seeing you soon, and have a great freshman campaign. We'll take care, okay?
Yeah, thank you.